You know, as a pastor, I get to do weddings, and every now and then I do a wedding, and young folk come down the aisle. Bridesmaid and bride comes down. She's got on the strapless, and she's smiling, and he's smiling. Oh, they're caught up in bliss. And if you're not convinced by looking at the smile on their face, you look at her neck, and she got Brad. Brad written on her neck, and you sit there and you say, oh, they must be in love. She got Brad's name on her neck. Well, the problem is she's marrying Tommy. She's not marrying. Listen, do whatever you want, but Mama told you not to put Brad's name on your neck. You might be in love with Brad, but you don't belong to Brad. You belong to God. You belong. It's God who woke you up this morning. It's God who started you on your way, and you ought to think long and hard before you let somebody stake their claim. Preacher's not preaching, he's meddling just a little while. Sacred memory develops our faith, it disciplines our spirit, and then finally, sacred memory directs our path. I know you're thinking about what you want God to do, but just think about what God has already done. And if you look into the record of God's deliverances in the past, you'll know sometimes what God wants you to do in the future. For we've already come a mighty long way. And sometimes while we're looking at the stone in front of us, we ought to think about the stones that were thrown at us and the stones that used to be on our way, because if we pay attention, we'll realize that we're now stepping on those stones. And if God brought us over the Red Sea, and if God brought us over the Jordan River, God didn't bring us this far to leave us. And so sacred memory directs our path. And so I thank God for the objects in my rearview mirror. I thank God for bringing us through the Middle Passage. I thank God for Martin and Malcolm and Medgar. I thank God for Woodson and Du Bois. I thank God for Sojourner and Tubman and Fannie Lou and Ella Baker, because when I look at the history of what God has done for me in the past, then I know that God is still with me. This is not the first time. This is not the first time you've had some financial struggles. This is not the first time you didn't know how to make ends meet. This is not the first time when you had to figure out how to make the money stretch a long way. Think about what God has already done for you, and God will direct your path. Trust in the Lord with all of thine heart. Lean not to thine own understanding.